Anointed Warriors. Pardon me for that. What's up, spiritual family? And welcome back to Mount Fitness MBS Ministry, where I am your host, Brother Mongoose. If you're tuning in for the first time, guys, let me inform you right off the bat that this is a different kind of ministry. And I am, by far, a different kind of minister. Now, if you'd like some specific information about exactly what I mean by that, please stay tuned to the end of the video. But let me start by welcoming all of you guys to the channel. If you're new, this ministry may be exactly what you're looking for. You can see the collapse of society and all the societal structures. And you can see how things like religion, stock market, and all these different things, all the social structures and foundations of society that's was originally set up to supposedly help us maintain in progress. You can see how those things have failed. So this ministry may or it may not be exactly what you're looking for in terms of you're not willing to follow that car over the cliff any further. I mean, we've seen what happened to our grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, their grandparents, and we see the road that mankind, this world government, if we're honest, this demonic world government, we see what they got in store for our kids and our grandkids and all that. And maybe you're looking for a different route forward. Again, this ministry may be exactly what you're looking for. To my long-time subscribers and supporters, obviously you guys know how very thankful and grateful I am to you guys, wishing you guys all the best. For those of you who have recently tuned in, welcome. Thanks for all your love, all your support, and we're going to look forward to keep on moving on in faith, keep on hoping on in love, and continuing to push this this revolution, this mind, body, and spirit revolution that this ministry is spearheading, and I thank you guys for being a part of that. Without further ado, guys, we're going to get off into today's topic. This message is actually seguative of a message that I just posted. And I just posted a video. If you haven't watched it, please check it out. It'll lay the groundworks for where I'm going in today's message. They look a little bit different, but they do kind of walk hand in hand. So please watch a video that's titled, "Your Awakening Has Ended." I was very careful in that particular message to reflect on the fact that that may not necessarily be true for everyone that's watching this video. We're all on different, divine timelines. But whether you're on that whether you're on that path, whether you've arrived at that path to where your awakening has concluded, and you wasn't sure, or if you're on that path, your awakening has concluded, and you're looking to see what could be next on the horizon for you and your spiritual walk and your place in his kingdom, etc. Either way, there's some information contained in that video that I'm faithfully confident will be beneficial to you. So please check that out. Now, here in this message, we're going to be talking about the fact that you've passed every test. So the same general rules apply. Maybe you haven't just yet, but I promise you that if you're still battling, if you refuse to stop for anything, then nothing will stop you. As long as you have your heart in the right place and you're doing everything that you can do, he'll do everything that you can't do. Don't get bent out of shape. Divine timing is a real thing, and sometimes we try to make things happen based on our own will, our own determination, our own charisma, whatever the case may be. None of that amounts to a half of a hill of soggy wet beans when it comes to his will. Divine timing is a real thing. So the same laws apply. Some of you guys may not have passed every single test just yet, and you're still being tested. And that's fine. Just keep going. Reach out to this ministry if you would like some support, some encouragement in any way that I could be of service to all you guys whose heart is in the right place. Now, some of you guys, this message is very applicable for, and it's very specifically catered to you, because some of you guys have in fact passed every single test, and your awakening has concluded. Again, these two things walk hand in hand. And so now it's just about you getting on with it. So I'm going to be talking about some different ways and some different pointers that I'll be making to help you realize that you have passed every single test. And again, at the risk of redundancy, for those of you who aren't there yet, no big deal there. Just keep pushing forward. Reach out to the ministry. Keep your heart clean. Keep your prayer, your meditation, your study, and all those things intact. And you will get there. Not 1 minute too early and not 1 minute too late. His divine timing is fully intact and operating in your life. So let's get on with the message a little bit more in depthly, guys, because I want to try to not have to make a part 2 to this, but if we do, then, if I have to, then I will. And I thank you guys for your patience and your understanding. So we're going to start today's message by saying, as we peel back another layer of it, that you have passed every test. We know these tests have been brutal. We know they have been trying. Some of them took years, perhaps even decades. But I'm going to be laying out some things to help you realize that you've passed the test. All of them. Regardless of how brutal these things have been. I hear we live in a day and a time where we live in a microwave culture where everybody wants it right away. Nobody wants to put anything in the oven anymore. I don't know if you guys can notice all the gray. I really do enjoy saying that because it's obvious that you can't miss them. But on a serious note, nobody wants to put everything in the oven where it was typically everything went on 350. No one wants to do that. Everybody wants that microwave right away. And I'm using that as a metaphor to say, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody is willing to go through hell in order to get there. Everybody wants to be like power. Everybody wants to be like Christ. They want to have the power and the presence of Christ, but they don't want to go through the pains of Christ. So I know it's been brutal. Trust me. And yet here you stand. The good book, let's start with 2 Corinthians. For some edification, guys, let's give you guys a precepts. It's 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 through 10. And it says, we are hard pressed on every side, but we're not crushed. We're perplexed, but not in despair. We're persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. We always carry around in our bodies the death of Christ, so that the life of Christ may also be revealed in our bodies. This is what you're carrying around, the life of Christ in your body and the death of Christ. You've gone through these hurdles. You've carried your cross. And you've passed every single test. Some of you guys, this test presented itself in a whole myriad of situations, circumstances, and perhaps even categories. So perhaps it was in your business, it was in your health, it's in your relationships, it was in the challenges and the tests when it came down to your moral compass and your moral fortitude, your integrity, your test. Your love was tested beyond all measure. You've all had the opportunity, the situation, the circumstances for your love to wax cold, just like everyone else, or almost everyone else, predominantly everyone else on the planet. You haven't surrendered your love. You still got love in your heart. Your joy has been tried. It's been tested and pushed to and fro, back and forth. But you haven't surrendered your joy. You haven't surrendered your faith. I'm going to be laying out some specific areas, well, kind of like some general areas to be more precise. But if once you zoom out, you'll be able to see that all of these things that I'm mentioning required that you continue to walk your path, the path that he set before you. Your health was tested. Again, perhaps your business was tested. You had an opportunity to advance your business, but you knew that, hey man, he was telling you something else. You knew that all money wasn't good money. Some of you have opportunities right now today to take on new clients, to invest further. You have the finances, you have the resources, but you know it ain't meant for you. And if you would just do something that is beneath your integrity, or just turn a blind eye to what's going wrong over there. And think about your business. No, you haven't done that. You've been tested in your business. The doctor report wasn't that good. The doctor report said there was a 100% chance, a 98% chance. No one's ever done this. Probably it told you never walk again. But look who's standing in the mirror. It told you the cancer would not go into remission. But look who's standing in the mirror. Some of you guys in your relationships, you had an opportunity to stay in a stagnant relationship and everything would have been just fine, just cozy. Even though you knew that it was time for you to move on. You knew that by you being there, you was hindering that other person. You guys were hindering each other, but it fit. It was cozy. It was familiar. You've passed the test. You moved on. You let that person go, whatever the case may have been. Again, your morals, your integrity, whether it's for your business, whether it's for your reputation, whether it's, the good old-fashioned in club, you have opportunity to not just advance, but to excel in all these different areas. Getting your YouTube followers up, having people in the neighborhood see you as some kind of person that you're not. Just turn the blind eye. Just settle just a little bit. The enemy told you when it comes to your morals and your integrity. You passed that test. Again, with all the wrong going on in the world, with all the mistreatment and the shenanigans that those of us who carry the light have to endure, all the people that prejudge you, that lash out because they're jealous, insecure, don't understand, just flat out haters, disciples of darkness, you face this day in and day out. It's an opportunity for you to surrender your love. You passed that test. You've been in situations and circumstances all across the board. Some of you guys, with the specific area where your faith was put to the test. You didn't surrender your faith. You passed every test. You've passed every test. Your compassion. People don't understand. People don't get it. People lash out. All these different things they do, but it was easy for you. It would have been easy for you to say, you know what? Why would I have compassion on clowns? Clowns that attack me for no reason. You could have easily. Some of you are presented with opportunities right now today to say, you know what? To heck with compassion. And while you set those parameters up and you protect your energy, you set boundaries and enforce them, you still have compassion. Hey man, these people are just lost. They're just afraid. They're just insecure. They're just being manipulated by the system. Allow them some leeway. You still move in compassion. Your humbleness has been tested. You've passed all the tests. Sound familiar? This is resonating with some of you guys out there. You had an opportunity to say, you know what? To heck with being humble. I'm the best guy in here. I'm the best girl in here. To heck with being humble. I'm going to get off into ego. I'm going to flaunt mine. And every day you see somebody that's not on your level, but they're getting ahead. They're advancing. They're excelling in that area because they're braggadocious. They're egotistical. And the enemy has said, hey man, why are you being so humble? You want that job. You want that promotion. You deserve it. To heck with being humble. The enemy also has said to a lot of you guys, you know what? When you walk around humble, people think you're a coward. People think you're afraid. People think you lame. They think you slow. They think you are a target. To heck with being humble. You pass that test. You remain humble. You set them boundaries and parameters and all that stuff. But you walk in humbleness. Your wisdom, everybody else is going this way. Be easy for you to just join the crowd. What's in vogue? What everybody else is doing. You're sticking to your wisdom. You're applying wisdom. You've passed every test, man. Some of you guys have personal issues in terms of, and we all do. But you know that if this is resonating to you specifically. You have personal issues in terms of your development. You want to be more kind. Maybe you want to be more humble. Maybe you want to be more modest. Maybe you want to be more authentic. Maybe you want to put down the drugs. You want to put down the alcohol. Maybe you want to get rid of that bad, negative attitude. And it's always these opportunities day in and day out for you to become stagnant and remain right there. Hey, listen. Well, just drink a little bit then. Smoke a half a pack of cigarettes today. That person cuts you off in traffic, give them the middle finger. They deserve that. You've been struggling back and forth, and it's so easy to say, hey, well, this is just who I am. It's so easy to say they deserve that. It's the world's fault. But you didn't do that. You continue to struggle and push forward in your personal development. You passed that test. Stop sitting around here thinking that you need something else in order for you to get to the next level. You've already passed the test. Yes, there's a next level. But when you finish with the 6th grade, you've passed those tests. You're on to the next. The 8th grade, the 12th grade, whatever the case may be, you comprehend. You've passed the test. Some of you guys have been, again, put to that test to see if whether or not you're going to walk, if you're willing to walk alone, this thing that we call God. Because oftentimes all of these tests that we've all been put through, majority of the time we didn't even realize it was just a test. We thought, hey man, it's just life. You know, everybody have their ups and downs. But you're not everybody. You are as unique and as rare as they come. You are as rare and as unique as the great red oak tree. Yes, it's just a tree. But can you walk down the street and point to a great red oak? Can you go anywhere, or do you have to go to a specific person? Is it a unique, very specific kind of a tree? You're a unique, very specific kind of person in this kingdom. Your assignment, your challenges, all of these things were unique. And part of that was to see if whether or not you were willing to walk your own path. The path that your parents laid out for you, the parents that your spouse, your parents, your children, society laid out for you. He downloaded to you that knowledge, that insight that says, hey, this path ain't for me. But this is what everybody else is doing. Yeah, but my path is over there. You walk that path over there. You walked alone. You walk your own path. You've passed that test. You've been betrayed. And we all have. Again, everybody want to be like Christ. But don't nobody want to be like Christ. He suffered. He was betrayed, and so were you. He didn't become bitter, and neither did you. You passed that test. It was a test all along to see if your closest friend, your husband, your longtime business partner, whatever, see if they were going to cross you out. He caused and or allowed them to cross you out, knife you in the back, betray you, and it was all just a test to see if you was going to become bitter. You passed the test. Some of you guys were once upon a time doing all kinds of things, whether it was gang banging, drugs, getting into all kinds of promiscuous relationships, all kinds of things. That when you got stressed, when you got fatigued, when you got fed up, when you got angry, you would use that as a vice to help you get over it. You would turn to that bottle. You would turn to those drugs. You would turn to that gang banging, that bad attitude. And through all of this stress, finally, you stopped turning to that. You passed the test. Some of you guys have been homeless, literally homeless. And even though there's a whole bunch of different ways that you could have gotten money, you could have been a fake person, tried to fit in. You could have went back to the streets and crime. You could have been a whole bunch of different ways that you could have gotten money. But just like Christ, see, most people don't know that Christ was homeless. A lot of people don't know that. They've been reading the Bible. They don't know that. Yeah, that verse when he says the birds have a place to rest, and the what else is the birds have a nest, and the cattle in the field have a barn, but the Son of Man, talking about himself, had no place to lay his head. Christ was homeless. You passed that test. Even though you were homeless, you didn't go back to crime. You didn't go back to, manipulating this kind of person. You didn't start back selling drugs. You didn't do any of the things. Some of you could have went shacked up with some woman. Some of you could have got with the big baller on the block. You was literally homeless. You passed that test. You didn't do any of those things. You stayed homeless. You toughed it out. You made it through. Some of you guys, again, you've been excommunicated. You've been excommunicated. Your reputation has been shot through the grease, as the old timers would call it. People have launched very malicious smear campaigns against you. And all you needed to do to offset that was be fake. You didn't surrender your authenticity. You didn't become fake. You passed the test. These were all tests to see what you were going to do, to see what you were going to become, how you were going to handle it. And you don't need me to tell you that the overwhelming majority of people in society failed those tests, the very test that you have passed. It's not a lot of people passed that. They mock you. They shame you, but you didn't surrender your God-given authenticity. Now you look around in society and see how many people are getting talked about and mocked and shamed. You see how fast they change their attitude and the way they walk and the way they talk and the way they dress just to fit in an effort to try to avoid those things. You stay true to your God-given authenticity. You passed that test. Some of you guys were out there, you were totally lonely. Totally lonely. And as a human being, you had certain impulses, certain desires. You didn't surrender to lust. You didn't cave into that lust. There was a guy, there was a girl that could have been right there to give you what you needed or what you was desiring in that situation. And you were lonely, which meant you were vulnerable. You didn't surrender to that lust. Could have got that promotion on the job. You could have got that promotion on the job. All you had to do was sign on a petition or say, yeah, I saw him or her do that. The petition was going around. Hey, listen, you're next for that promotion. Well, James, or Sherry, we got a petition going. We're going to get them knocked out. We're going to get them fired. And then the job is yours. You got bills to pay. You declined that offer. You passed that test. These are just different examples of the test that you've passed. Some of them are resonating with you guys in different areas. And even if they're not resonating with you in any specific area, you comprehend. Because there's other areas that when you analyze yourself, when you become totally introspective, you realize that, wow, you know what? That's true. So whether it's in this area, that area, this area, you can look at yourself and say, yeah, you know what? I passed that test. Yeah, I had an opportunity to go that way. And maybe you did go that way for a certain time or for a certain season. But you made the course correction. You passed the test. Some of you guys have been in a situation where people have wronged you and treated you so foul and all these different things. And the opportunity for you to exact revenge was right there. It may be right there today. He slept with your girl. She slept with your husband. I'll get her back. I'll go sleep with her husband. Oh, she started a fake smear campaign about me. Well, I'll go start a fake smear campaign about her. You didn't do that. You sucked it up. You endured. You took the pain. You realize what the old timers say. You know what? When you set out a course for revenge, make sure you dig 2 graves. Chances are you'll only need one, and the one will be for you. You realize that. And whether you realize that or not, you realize, hey man, it's just not worth it. I'm going to learn the lesson. I'm going to move in compassion. I'm going to forgive them. Not going to deal with them anymore, whatever. But I'm not going to set a course for revenge. You passed that test. That's the whole reason why he caused and or allowed them to do that, to see if you were going to fall into revenge. Some of you guys have been into the wilderness. You didn't know what was coming up. No money, no food, no house, no clothes, no friends, no career, no reputation, just totally in the wilderness. But you didn't lose your faith. You didn't lose your faith. You kept right on. Hey man, some kind of way. I can't see it. I can't plan it. You can't even imagine it. But some kind of way, he's going to work it out. And whether he works it out in the way that I want him to, the way that I plan for him to, the way that I expect him to, whether he work it out in that way or a different way, I'm going to be okay. You didn't surrender your faith. See there? You've passed the test. And this could be in all, as far as your faith, that could be in a multitude of areas. Relationship, health, etc., etc. But you've passed that test. You haven't stopped. You haven't stopped moving forward in faith. Some of you guys have experienced some great heartaches, headaches, as I mentioned earlier, setbacks, disappointment in yourselves, things that did, in fact, rob the majority of everybody else of their joy. You still got joy in your heart. You got joy, more joy in your pinky finger than most people got in their entire lives. I didn't say their entire body. I said their entire lives. You ready to laugh. You ready to share some laughter. You ready to smile. You enjoy the sunshine, the moonlight. You got joy and peace that the good book says surpasses all understanding. Because on a humanistic standpoint, your heart could wax cold. You could be just as bitter or more bitter than anybody else, but you still got your joy. You passed the test. Some of you guys have faced extreme challenges, whether it was on a physical level, whether it was on a monetary level, to where you had the money, But in order for you to invest, it was going to take an enormous amount of courage, an enormous amount of faith. There's that word again. It's going to take an enormous amount of courage for you to leave that relationship, for you to leave that neighborhood, for you to leave that job and strike out on faith. You're challenged. Some of you guys, hey, it's a big guy, it's a big girl. There's 3 or 5 against 1. And you decide, hey man, look, what's wrong is wrong. Now if y'all gonna jump me, then go ahead and jump me. Let's just get it over with. It's not what I want, but if it's gotta be that way, let's just get it over with. Because there's no way 5-on-1, 10-on-1, I'm gonna let you do that to me. Your courage has been tested. Again, the same laws apply. This is why he caused and or allowed it to take place anyway, to test your courage. To see if you're going to surrender your courage. You pass the test. Some of you guys, again, in relationships, in your finances, in your careers, you faced dead end after dead end. You've invested money, you've invested time, energy, you've done all these different things. And again, this is across the board. Some is in relationships, some is in your finances and careers. But there was dead end after dead end after dead end. You didn't surrender your hope. Hey, this is the dream that God put in my heart. Still got hope / faith that it's going to work out. Let me wrap this up, guys. Some of you guys, unfortunately, have found out some of the harsh truths about religion. Various religions, dare I say all of the religions. Some of you guys was born and raised and been holding that religion dear. And to some point in some season, it worked for you. It may be working for you now, but you've also faced the ugly truths about it. The harsh truths about, hey man, this religion that I'm practicing, this religion has killed more people than all the world wars combined. Just based on this religious belief. This religion that I think is so upright is actually teaching me to treat people unfairly. Whatever the hard truth may be, you found out those hard truths about those religions, but you've kept moving forward and believing in God. Talk to me, somebody. You didn't surrender your belief in God. You passed the test. That's why he revealed it to you in the first place. To see if you was going to say, hey, listen, that's the religion? Well, I'm about the ways of the world then. No, you passed that test. As I wrap this up, stumbling in relationships, your personal development, and you refuse to take this mindset, well, that's who I am. That's just the way I am. You refuse to take this mindset, well, he's been there with me all of this time. She's helped me all of this time. You refuse to settle. Your discernment has been put to all kinds of different tests. Your discernment, where you had to go through this phase to where, hey man, something tells me not to invest with this person. But man, everything is up and up. I see the returns. I see all the paperwork. You invested with them. Even though your discernment told you not to, you got burnt. Walking down that alley, your discernment told you not to. You walked down that alley, you got jumped, got mugged, slip and fell, whatever. Your discernment, your ability to trust your discernment has been put to the test. And now you trust your discernment now. You passed the test. Some of you guys have spiritual powers, what's most commonly referred to as psychic powers, operating within you. And because you wasn't brought up in a world that taught you that, hey, some people are going to develop these psychic powers. It's not these spiritual powers. It's not hyperbole. It's not supposition. It's not conjecture. This is the real deal. Like some human beings are going to develop these supernatural / spiritual / psychic powers. And because you didn't have any training or any knowledge that would be the case, let alone any training with how to deal with it when it was downloaded to you by this thing that we call God, you became confused, You became hesitant. You were in denial. Tried to run away from it. All these different things. But now you've learned. You've passed that test that you do have spiritual gifts. You do have spiritual talent. You do have spiritual powers. You have psychic capabilities. You know, I'm not going to get off beat. As a matter of fact, I'm going to close with that. But, you know, when they make these movies about the X-Men, you know, that's what television has always been, guys. Telling a vision. And it's not just about the X-Men. The X-Men, I believe I got a video. I'm not sure. I believe I got a video on deck, but it's somewhere down the trough. Talking about it's not just spiritual powers when it comes to one's psyche and one's mentality. It's spiritual powers when it comes to one's physicality, i.e. Samson slaying 1,000 men with only the jawbone of a donkey. But I'm not going to get too far off course. The fact of the matter is you've learned to trust in your spiritual gifts and powers. You know they come from him. You know they're real. You don't need anybody to validate that. You don't need nobody to co-sign on that. You don't need nobody to agree with that. You don't need nobody to applaud that. You don't need nobody to even acknowledge that. But you know that you know that you know that you know. So you've passed that test. I'm going to get out of here, guys. Hey, listen, I may make a part 2 on this, but right now I'm sitting at about 37 minutes. Let me get out of here. You guys know I love you. You guys know I do appreciate you. And that's one of the reasons why I do leave the email link down in the description. It's not just for services and, you know, saying, you know, where you guys can contact me and say thank you or whatever. It's so, you know, if you guys want any follow-up information, if you got any questions, even if you disagree, this ministry is open when it comes to good, healthy dialogue and discourse. So if you got any questions, anything like that, that's what the email link is there for. Let me talk about the ministry real quick, and I'm gonna abbreviate this closing, guys. This is a mind, body, and spirit ministry that's promoting mental, physical, and spiritual health and wellness, achieving this goal by ways of services that include experiential-based philosophical consultative services for the mind, ISSA certified fitness training for the body, and clean-hearted spiritual teachings and practices for the spirit and for the soul. Additional services that fall up under this holistic approach consist of good old-fashioned motivational speaking, as well as youth and young adult mentoring and counseling. So, if you'd like some more information about the services, how they're implemented, what they consist of, and how they're going to be beneficial to you, please watch a video that's titled MBS Service Tutorial. Now, when it comes to what makes me a when it comes to what makes me a different kind of minister, you're going to want to watch a video that's titled My Testimony and Disclosure, because this ministry may not be for you, and if so, you want to find that out, obviously, as soon as possible. And on the flip side of the coin is this ministry may be exactly what you need to inspire you, to motivate you, to encourage you, to look at your own testimonies and how he's always been and always continuing to operate in your life. You may be inspired to support this ministry, become a long-time subscriber. But whatever the case is, please watch those videos. Please also visit the physical fitness branch of the ministry located at mountfitnessmbs.com. Now, I always close with this, guys, because I'm different. Like if there's anybody that I support on YouTube, the first thing I do when I click on their channel is I hit the like button. It's not about the message. I may not agree with the message itself, but for me personally, I'm supporting that ministry, that channel. And I always start with hitting the like button. That way I don't forget. And ultimately, with me, it's about supporting that ministry. And maybe not all the time that particular message. But so, in any event, did you get something out of today's message? Now, if you didn't, that's fine. I still want to ask you another question. Do you think there's somebody somewhere on this planet that could get some value out of today's message? If your answer is yes to either of those questions, then please hit the share button. Take a message that's beneficial to you, pay that message forward, and allow that same message, this same message, to now have an opportunity to go out there and be beneficial to someone else. This is how we turn this thing around, guys. One person, one community at a time. Hit the share button if you would, please. And then to help grow the ministry by way of the YouTube algorithm, also please hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. And then please hit the bell icon if you'd like to receive a notification every time I upload a new message. I believe I've mentioned the physical fitness branch of the ministry at mountfitnessmbs.com. If you have any questions, if you'd like to schedule your initial consultation and evaluation, go ahead and do so by way of the email link down in the description box. Also, if the Holy Spirit moved you to make a monetary donation in support of this ministry, your generosity in that regards and in all these regards is definitely welcome and highly appreciated, guys. So I'm going to leave a Cash App link down in the description box. Please know that no amount is too small. And whatever seed that you plant into this ministry, whatever good seed that you plant into this ministry, may you, in accordance to his will and his riches in heaven, receive the bountiful blessing, the harvest that he has promised you. A harvest that's pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Receive that by faith, guys. I believe that's everything. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm your host, Brother Minister Mongoose, but as always, I encourage you guys to live a life that prioritizes faith over fear, truth over tradition, knowledge over nonsense, love over lust, and people over profit. That's what I got for you guys. I love y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one. I am Brother Minister Mongoose, as I mentioned. But again, some of you guys have passed the test, man. If this resonates with you, if you'd like to see what's next for you, if you'd like some information about what you need to do to work yourself in accordance with his divine timing up to that level, whatever the case may be, that's what this ministry is here for. I love you guys, and I'm out. I am Brother Minister Mongoose. Sound familiar? And I will holler back. Peace.